Many people living in this world experience suffering. In their suffering, they often tend to blame others, authorities, laws, the world, or even fate itself. However, it is worth considering that suffering is merely a state of unconsciousness and inner discord. We become unhappy because we are unaware of what we do, what we think, and what we feel. In every moment of our lives, we regularly contradict ourselves. Our actions are directed one way, our thoughts move in a completely different direction, and our feelings lead us in a third. As a result of these internal conflicts, we fall apart, and the personality becomes increasingly fragmented. Unawareness distances us from understanding the nature of happiness, leading to internal conflict and dissatisfaction. Each of us possesses the potential for awareness and harmony, but developing it requires effort. By striving for attention and understanding, we begin to realize our true desires and needs. Gradually, by working on ourselves, we learn to connect actions, thoughts, and feelings, overcoming the gaps that deprive us of peace. By correcting internal dissonance, we see the world more clearly, opening new paths to happiness and fulfillment. Such a path requires self-work but brings healing and fullness of life. This is suffering when we lose integrity, feeling like a periphery without a center. Without harmony within ourselves and the world, life seems unhappy and tragic, a burden we drag forward, dooming ourselves to suffering. The main thing is to try to make suffering less painful. This is not always easy, especially if the roots of pain and loss are deep. There are many types of pain relief, from physical to emotional and spiritual. People all over the world live in suffering and seek ways to alleviate it. From medications to numb the pain to meditation, and therapy promising inner relief. These means serve as navigators in the realm of suffering, helping to loosen its grip. However, it is important to remember that true harmony requires deep inner exploration and understanding to restore wholeness and unity. There are two ways out of this state of suffering. The first is to become a meditator, to develop vigilance and mindfulness. This requires effort and courage, as the process is complex and demands inner strength. Mindfulness requires constant practice and self-understanding, which allows overcoming suffering by accepting it as part of the experience. This path leads to true understanding and liberation through self-knowledge and peace. There are two ways out of this state of suffering. The first is to become a meditator, to develop vigilance and mindfulness. This requires effort and courage, as the process is complex and demands inner strength. Mindfulness requires constant practice and self-understanding, which allows overcoming suffering by accepting it as part of the experience. This path leads to true understanding and liberation through self-knowledge and peace. The second path is easier and cheaper, but it temporarily mutes the problem without solving it. This involves seeking something that makes you unconscious to avoid pain and suffering. It could be alcohol, drugs, or other means of escaping reality, which allow you to forget anxiety and despair for a while, making a person insensitive and leading them into an unconscious state. This approach does not address the root of the problem, but merely delays its resolution, creating the illusion of temporary relief from emotional pain. The second path merely makes suffering more comfortable and bearable, but does not solve the problem at its root. It softens the blow but does not lead to a final overcoming. This approach may temporarily soothe, creating an illusion of improvement, but does not bring about true inner transformation. The only transformation capable of changing a person is meditation, the path to self-discovery and awareness. Meditation is a method that makes you aware, opening doors to true understanding and acceptance of yourself. It can be combined with other self-development techniques, such as psychotherapy, reality transurfing, or practices that resonate with your inner world. A combination of approaches can create a more holistic path to harmony and enlightenment. The main thing is consistency and a sincere desire for change, as each step brings you closer to inner peace and happiness. Meditation has the ability to take a person beyond the bounds of suffering, especially with regular practice. It helps us understand that there is no need to adapt to suffering. Instead, we have the opportunity to become free from it. However, such a path to freedom can be more challenging than those that only temporarily alleviate suffering. Choosing the more difficult path involves testing and requires mindfulness and a willingness for self-discovery. Following this path, you will encounter the necessity to become aware of your body and actions. This includes not only movements, but also the states that meditation helps to discern. This process requires inner transformation and perseverance. By becoming aware of yourself, you will begin to discover new levels of consciousness and harmony, opening up the possibility of living without the constant burden of suffering. Thus, meditation becomes not just a practice of tranquility, but a tool for achieving freedom and serenity. Buddha was giving a lecture, and among the audience was a powerful king. He sat in front of Buddha and began to wiggle his big toe. Buddha noticed this, paused his speech, and looked at the toe. Feeling Buddha's gaze, the king stopped wiggling his toe. The lecture continued, and the king started to wiggle his toe again. Buddha asked him, "Why are you wiggling your toe?" The king replied, "When you stopped talking and looked at my toe, I first noticed what I was doing. Before that, I was not aware of my actions." The Buddha smiled and said, "Think about it. It is your own finger, and you do not realize what you are doing with it. If you do not realize such a simple action, imagine the consequences of more serious actions. You might accidentally harm or kill someone if you do not become aware of your actions." These words made the king reflect on the importance of mindfulness and attention in every moment of life. Through a simple gesture and wise dialogue, the Buddha demonstrated how crucial it is to be attentive to actions and their consequences. Murders can be committed unconsciously, and the killers may not realize it. Often, the accused denied the fact of the crime, believing they were deceiving the court. However, research shows that some truly were unaware of their actions, being in a state of complete unconscious influence. Strong emotions can deprive a person of control. In a state of rage, the body releases chemicals that poison the blood, leading to a temporary loss of reason. After the event, the person may remember nothing. People in states of excessive emotion, whether love or hatred, can lose clarity of thought and commit actions for which they may not be able to account later. Such distorted perception of reality can lead to impulsive actions, entering into unexpected relationships, destroying valuable objects, going to extremes, or even suicide. The fine line between consciousness and the unconscious can lead to tragic consequences if emotions get out of control. Understanding and studying such behavior is important for crime prevention and improving the understanding of human nature. Start paying more attention to your body by noticing its signals. Over time, you will observe changes in gestures and movements, appreciating the significance of each moment. Mindfulness helps you feel a deep connection with your body. Once you become more mindful, many automatic unnecessary habits begin to disappear, paving the way for harmony. Your body becomes relaxed and in tune with your mind, making movements easy and natural. Start becoming aware of your thoughts. Observe them as carefully as you do physical sensations. Thoughts are more insidious and can greatly affect your state of mind. You will notice how difficult it is to maintain concentration on the thoughts that flash through your consciousness. They have an impact even if you don't notice them. So it's important to learn how to capture and analyze what you're thinking about. By writing down your thoughts, you may be surprised by their chaotic nature and unpredictability. observing how they affect your emotional state and daily behavior. This may become a revelation, revealing the depth and diversity of your thinking. Gradually, the practice encourages deep self-reflection, turning the unconscious into the conscious and paving the way for inner growth. Continue recording. This should become your daily ritual, your time for reflection and self-understanding. Close the doors, lock the windows, so that no one can disrupt this process of self-exploration. Be honest with yourself, revealing even the thoughts and feelings you would rather hide. You can burn what you've written if you're worried someone might find out about it. Consider how much freedom this gives you to be honest. Confront what you've tried to suppress or ignore. True self-awareness will begin. Every day, put down on paper everything that occurs in your mind. This will free you from the internal prison of thoughts and emotions hidden deep inside. Do not interpret, change, or edit. Just record them in their pure form. This will become the manifesto of your inner world. In an exact reflection, true feelings and thoughts will come into existence. This will be not only a way to better understand yourself, but also, possibly, the key to finding the harmony and peace that have long eluded you. In 10 minutes, you will see the mad mind lurking beneath the surface of your consciousness. This stream of thoughts and emotions influences every aspect of your life. It permeates your every action, shapes decisions, and determines behavior. This current invisibly directs life. It's important to understand that this inner chaos is a powerful force, capable of both destroying and creating. It is up to you how to harness this stream. Pay attention to your mind and try to change it. If chaos reigns, it can lead you away from your true goals. Awareness and control over the internal flow can transform your life. Slow down, look within, and start recognizing dominant thoughts. This will help develop new habits and positive patterns of thinking. Your life is the sum of thoughts and actions. By changing your inner world, you change your external reality. Be the master of your mind, and you will become the master of your life. Mindfulness is simple. It's enough to become attentive to start the transformation. No complex methods or efforts are needed. Observation, reconciliation, and acceptance begin to change the internal state. Initially, the changes seem insignificant, but over time, the hustle and chaos that once seemed an integral part of life fade away. As you become more mindful, you notice how the crazy mind quiets down. Restless thoughts lose their intensity, following a logical and harmonious pattern. Disparate thoughts gain structure and order, transforming into coherent chains. This movement resembles a game of dominoes, harmonizing the inner world and influencing the surrounding reality, improving it. Mindfulness becomes the key to a new state of being. When deep serenity prevails, it fills every cell of your being. At the moment when the body and mind find peace, a special attunement arises between them, as if an invisible bridge connects them into a single whole. You no longer pull in different directions, but merge into a harmonious rhythm, where the body and mind work in unison. This harmony brings inner peace and becomes the foundation for further self-development. Transitioning to the next stage, a more conscious perception of your feelings, emotions. Your physical and mental states are in harmony, and you begin to notice signals from your inner world that were hidden by the hustle and bustle of life. This allows you to see more clearly what is happening inside. Paying attention to changes in the emotional sphere, you become more receptive to true experiences, which gives you the ability not only to recognize them, but also to manage them. This creates space for deep personal growth and self-improvement, where each step and new awareness becomes a step towards a more meaningful existence. By becoming aware of your thoughts, you have taken an important step towards self-awareness. More intensive mindfulness helps reflect moods, emotions, and feelings. When you are aware of all three layers, They merge into a single phenomenon, allowing for a better understanding of yourself. When thoughts, moods, and emotions achieve harmony, they begin to resonate together as a unified whole. You can feel the music of all three elements that create the orchestra of your inner life. This harmony opens the way to the fourth state. However, reaching this stage is not something that can be done intentionally. It happens on its own, as a gift given for the efforts made on the three previous steps. It is like a reward for the deep work of awareness and integration of all aspects of your being. This wholeness and harmony open the doors to new levels of spiritual awareness and inner peace. The fourth is ultimate awareness, making a person awakened. In this state, one understands the full depth of their existence, becomes conscious of their own awareness, and reflects on every thought and action. This is the fourth dimension of consciousness, a step towards true awakening. In this awakening, a person experiences bliss. The state is filled with clarity and understanding, creating harmony between the inner and outer world. Those who reach this level gain absolute tranquility and inner harmony, allowing them to live each moment with complete understanding and enjoyment. Bliss is the ultimate goal of human existence. It is a state where suffering is absent, and there is complete harmony with oneself and the world. The path to bliss lies through mindfulness. The practice of mindfulness develops the ability to see the world without distortions. Understanding actions, emotions, and thoughts leads to liberation from fear and pain. Mindfulness becomes a compass, showing the way to happiness, freeing from routine, and allowing one to feel the fullness of life in every moment.